So they're not going to take all day for whatever reason, 70 minutes. If they, are diligently about to finish this thing, it's going to take 2 or 3 more minutes. That's fine. It's not going to be a test. Right, it's not going to be a test violation or anything like that. So here's the breakdown for, I thought I deleted this slide, that was math. I've got your specific ones here. Oh, can you go back real quick?
Sure.
And that, let's see, math. Did I eliminate the social studies one? When I was rearranging some of these. I threw in the content weights for U.S. history. I don't know how different these are for y'all.
The third domain is 5% less, and the last domain has 5% more.
So they were even?
They were, yeah.
They were 20% each.
Yes.
Okay. So they decided that the sort of industrialization era needed less attention, and they decided post-World War II needed more. I'm guessing that we were not looking so good nationwide in this area, so they want more focus there. That's probably the reason. They were going to have. I didn't get into that item review by data there. They do some of that on the third day down in Atlanta. That looked really fun, looking at p-values and those kinds of things. But anyway, econ. They evened them out. These used to say like 17.5, 21, as if they're that precise. What they want the students to know. So they just.
Econ's all math, right?
Yeah, they went to 20% on everything. To tell you U.S. history guys one thing, econ is very straightforward. And this has just made it even more straightforward, simplified. Our standards versus the history standards for world and U.S. World and U.S. history standards, you may know the standard that there's 100 different ways to ask a question about it and be satisfying that standard. In econ, there's only a couple things you're going to be able to do. So we're fortunate that way. If you ever decide to make that move into econ, join the bright side. Anyway, moving on here. Scratch paper will be available. Like I told you earlier, the calculator policy, just the specifics on that in case somebody had questions. And this is what's available now. Some of this has been emailed to you already. It's just replacing some of the other stuff. If you're familiar with the online assessment system, anybody ever use that or bother looking at the DOE site for that? These are like ways of getting kids to see these questions ahead of time. They're calling it Go Far now because what these were the old throwout questions, the no good field test items. They threw them out and put them on here, which isn't really much help. So now they're calling it Go Far and they're supposed to be better. I can't confirm that, I was told that. And some of your typical kind of stuff, I don't know if any of this stuff is interesting, but again, down here, skip down one more time, see. They're trying to really get us on board of thinking about this as an opportunity. One big final thing I'll tell you that I gleaned from this meeting. What happened when I went down there is they had a big buffet. You check in, the buffet is at Collins Square Hotel. And I don't even know how, I think I was just selected up top somewhere. They wanted somebody to represent social studies, econ from this high school. And I only saw 1 or 2 other people from the county down there. And then there were people from all over Georgia, some of them staying there and whatnot. I was fighting. First day I left, I got down there an hour after I left. Second day I left, same time I got there 2 hours after I left. Atlanta traffic, right? So we get there and they gather us in, they basically display this PowerPoint, go over some of this stuff with us. But the big thing they were trying to press upon us, and was that Dr. Fincher, is that milestones should be seen as an opportunity to improve how we're teaching our children. We're all doing this great job. We want it reflected. We want tests that reflect that assess for that. Constructive response is meant to be moved that way. Though we won't see it this year, I think it's good our county's sort of making that move, getting our kids kind of used to it being there. It won't be our first time when it really does count, because I know it's been a transition for us as well to have that as part of the benchmark. I think it's brilliant that it won't be our first time when it really counts. The cut score in econ, 49% correct raw score will scale up to a 70. What they're talking about doing is raising that. I think in U.S. history it's like 52%. Is that about right? So they're talking about raising it. I think that's what they're going to do this year. I think that's what we're going to see. This is a guess. They didn't tell us. They told us they were going to. Our cut scores were the lowest in the country. She emphasized that does not mean we have the lowest performing students in the country. She didn't really say what they were, but they're not the lowest. And The cut score is probably what we're going to see get raised up. I'm guessing they'll put it at whatever they want. And they can probably, based on their information they've already gotten, they can probably put it where they want. If they want 80% to pass, or if they want 70% to pass, something like that, based on earlier data, they can probably gauge it about the way they want to. So just expect, what I'm expecting are the questions look very similar, but the cut score, if you understand what I'm talking about now, will be higher. That's all I think we're going to see this year with regard to our test. So will our scores be as good? Probably not, just based on that. If you have kids on the border, those are the ones who we're going to be really struggling to get to that passing level again. And all of that is for the greater good. And they were talking about why we're there and what we did. If you have any questions about how we went through it, I'm happy to. The people I worked with, very professional, on board, knew what they were doing. I'm guessing that was the same way in all the different, whether it was U.S. history or what it was. I'm guessing it was the same for all of them. So, this is what it was expected and so forth. So we're not meant to review any of what we actually looked at, but the process, they encouraged us to come back and talk about the process. Just nothing specific. Not that there's anything I could really, we're doing it right. I can tell from the econ point of view where I was at, we're doing it right. I can say that. I think we're right on, dead on track, what we need to be doing. So that should make you feel better. Okay? We're taught to ask this in econ. Not if you have any, but we know you have them. What are they?
Will there ever be world history government tests?
Will there ever be, as far as I know? No, but they didn't talk about it. But will they want to? That's probably where it's transitioning to. Your guess would be as good.
And just to clarify, they're probably not going to have the right portion of the econ test, right?
No, not this year.
All right, well,
It could change next year. And DOE was real upfront about politics of this whole thing. It could all totally flip over before next school year, based on politics. Get out and vote.